just for 2019 was estimated at about 300 megawatts. Obviously, the growth in the PV sector is very much linked to how aggressively Eskom deals with the load shedding or not. But we have seen a significant change and a shift with the larger EPCs, where the larger EPCs have really focused on projects 1 megawatt and up. But there has been that shift where they are looking at installing projects lower than 1 megawatt. So we are looking at the estimated growth at the end of December to be reaching the 300 megawatt goal as predicted. We also have a list of the EPCs. It's not EPCs, municipalities that are providing grid connections. So this is a list, if anybody would like the list of the municipalities that are enabling and allowing grid-tied solutions, please, the list is available. The next slide is really looking at the municipalities that are getting support, SSCG support within the country, and I think that is quite promising and very interactive, and we look forward to engaging further with the municipalities. With the Association for Renewable Energy Practitioners, we are really looking at a quality assurance program, but quality assurance programs not only for businesses involved in installing solar PV projects, but also for individuals and your smaller businesses that are getting involved, because I think, there's always the term thrown around, regarding the bucky brigade. You've got a bucky, you've got a ladder, you can install, and it's very important for us to look at those types of people in the market, as well as your larger EPCs where training is required. So the training really focuses on design and installation, but also looking at the system owners, the suppliers, the municipalities. And we already spoke about the personal growth and the business growth within the sector, where AREP really focuses quite significantly with its P4 platform, which will enable people to become a solar specialist. But I think what's important with the P4 platform, it really addresses the full value chain in the solar PV sector. So we are not just purely focusing on installers. We are also looking at people that are selling the equipment, as well as maintenance. We are also expanding our offering into the skills set base. With the P4 platform, there is a series of tests. These tests, level 1 tests and level 2 tests, which are currently available and can actually be written in all 9 provinces at any of the major suppliers. That enables the personal growth of individuals within your smaller companies or your larger EPCs doing PV installations. So it's not restricted just to the company itself, who would then register on the P4 platform, where the P4 platform for your businesses is really a weighted system. So it's weighted in terms of the number of systems that they've installed. It's also weighted on the level of training of the individuals in the organizations, but where that will assist the company specifically in terms of financing and insurance of systems. But anybody is welcome to contact me after the presentation for more information on AREP, as well as the P4 platform and the further benefits. But again, a very big thank you to the City of Cape Town for joining us and for that presentation and to answer questions that our members would have. So on that note, I will then hand over to Anton de Swart, who will deal with all the questions and direct the conversation with the municipality. Thank you.
Okay, I just want to find out if everybody is hearing me.
Yes.
Anton, from my side, you are clear?
Okay, great. Okay, thank you guys. I'm Anton de Swart. I'm looking from the association side to communicate with municipalities with regards to SSEG regulations and applications and so on. There is from the industry a couple of questions with regards to Cape Town, and I'm going to take you through the different questions, okay, and we can just open discussion about it. Reino, I will address it to you, and then you can take it from on the various points to see, you know, what is involved. The first question we have is with regards to the design and installation sign-off. So, do I need the same qualifying criteria to register an off-grid system opposed to a grid-tie system? That is the first question.
Okay, I think first of all you need to look at the two forms that's on the website. The one is a declaration, the other one is an application for grid-tied. The declaration is for off-grid systems, and we call it the declaration for off-grid, and then the application for grid-tied systems. The one is called the Gen/off-grid, and the other one is Gen/EMB. In there, it states who must complete the document, and we also refer to the assistance of a technocrat that can assist a domestic or industrial or commercial customer.
Okay, great. Reina, will you be so kind to forward me the links to that document that I can send it to all the participants, please?
Yeah, sure. It's on our city's website.
Okay.
What I can give you is the link. It's actually a very straightforward link. It is, you know, HTTP,
Yeah.
and then :// and then www.capetown.gov.za and / elect service forms, one word.
Okay.
But if you
Yes, I will
use that, you will find there's reference documents, and all our forms and reference documents is under that same link.
Okay, great.
But I'll forward that to you. Okay.
Thank you, Reina. Okay, then the next question is, when is an installation grid connected and when is it off grid?
Okay. Again, on the form, maybe I can go back to our requirements document.
Yeah.
In there, there are definitions for various components in the industry. The off-grid SSEG, if I can read that for you, that is SSEG that's physically separated and electrically isolated from and can never be connected to the utility electricity grid, either directly or through a customer's internal wiring, is said to be off-grid. Customer loads cannot simultaneously connect it to the utility grid and the SSEG installation and export energy onto the utility grid by the generator, and must not be possible. SSEG that is connected to the grid through reverse power flow blocking relay is not considered to be off-grid. That is off-grid, and in the form there are three categories we list. The one is a passive standby UPS, utilizes off-grid hybrid SSEG. And then the other one is the normal SSEG alternative supply in terms of SANS 10142-1.
Okay.
And then there's a last one that is electrically separated off-grid installation that is not interlocked with a utility grid as a switch alternative, and that is typically for a freestanding swimming pool or pump or whatever.
Okay.
Then grid tied, that is SSEG that's connected to the utility grid either directly or through a customer's internal wiring, said to be grid tied. SSEG that is connected to the grid through a reverse power flow blocking relay is also considered to be grid type. So that is the two definitions.
Okay, great. Okay. The next question, we have different regions for registration. We know you will represent the city of Cape Town, but do you know if the intention is to have the same process throughout the Western Cape?
Yes, Anton. Basically, we have a consistent approach throughout the city, and we've got within the city 3 areas, which is mainly the head offices within the 3 areas. So the one is in Bloemhof, which basically covers the area on the northern suburbs, Yarwell, Parow, up to even Helderberg, Somerset West area. And we've got the second region is the south region, which is where Wynberg is the head office, and that covers the southern suburbs, basically from Wynberg, Muizenberg, up to Llandudno and Mitchells Plain, Cape Flats areas.
Okay.
Then we've got the last region, which is in the city. They've moved now to Electricity House in Hout Street in Cape Town, but they're predominantly responsible for the CBD area, as well as the outlying industrial areas within Epping, Athlone, and the residential area, Vanguard Estate, Athlone areas. So that's the three main areas that covers the entire city. And yes, we follow the same approach throughout the city in terms of the SSEG process.
Okay, great. Part of the question was municipalities like the Drakenstein and these type of municipalities, will they follow your regulations or do they have separate requirements?
Well, I cannot actually answer for them because we obviously we are City of Cape Town, so we basically are only focusing on what we as City of Cape Town do. If they do use it or not, I won't be able to tell you.
Okay, great, thank you.
Just to latch on that, Anton, the AMEU, the Association for Municipal Electricity or Energy Undertakings, they compiled a pack of documents, and that included application forms and also a requirements document, and that was distributed to all other municipalities. So I'm sure they are using those documents as we speak.
Okay, great. Marina, do you have a copy of that email with that information in?
Yes, I can forward that to you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Rainer. Okay, then the next part is with regards to meters and metering. Okay, the question is, do meters get replaced once the process is approved? Who pays for the replacement of the meters?
Okay, we've now gone through quite an extensive program with regards to the metering, what we call MRP, the meter retrofit program. So what you'll find most of the time is that we, the city, would basically, when there is an application for SSEG, specifically for residential, we will, and there's an old revolving credit meter, we will replace that meter with a prepayment meter at our cost. If the customer intends having a grid-tied system where they want to export, they would obviously need to pay for the AMI meter.
Okay.
So that is our position, and then for residential. So if it is an off-grid system, for example, or a grid-tied system where and it's residential, and the customer doesn't want to export, we will just ensure that whatever metering there is, we will replace it with a PPM at our cost. Should the customer want a grid-tied system where they want to export, then cost becomes payable to the customer for the AMI meter to be able to read the reverse flow energy. Yes, and then obviously for it to be, for the tariff to become applicable as well.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
For commercial customers, there again, it depends on not just if they want to get fuel, but also the size of the customer. If it's, for example, a large power user, they will already have what we call an advanced metering meter, an AMI meter, and thus we don't need to change the metering. But should the meter, should it be an SPU, a small power user that is typically maybe sometimes 60 amps 3-phase, 80 amp 3-phase, there the metering will be PPM, also free of charge.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, the next question is with regards to NRS certification. Okay, the question was, how do I get my product registered for NRS, and if I want to add an inverter to the list? Okay, my views on that is each manufacturer of inverters need to go through the NRS certification process with an independent Bureau Veritas type of institution. Okay, that NRS certification with a test report need to be submitted to Cape Town for approval, and after that, Cape Town will add it to the list. That's correct.
That's correct. And just to add on that, that is for any new or additional inverters will have to be in accordance with the current NRS 097-2-1, the 2017 version. 2017 version, and we've relaxed just one clause, and that was clause 4113.3 in the frequency band from 30 kilohertz to 148. It used to be, the 30 used to be 3, or it still is 3, but we relaxed it to 30.
Okay.
And it's also a certificate and a summary test report.
Okay, great.
Where you can exclude sensitive test information should you desire.
Yeah, I think that was one of the industry questions, was a question about the frequency that is in the document that they can't comply with. So that is out now, basically.
No, it is still in it, but we've just relaxed it from 3 to 30 kilohertz because between 3 and 30 kilohertz we don't use in the power line communication spectrum.
Yeah.
So from 30 upwards, it's still a requirement, and the Senelec A band, as we call it, is from 3 to 95 kilohertz, and our smart prepayment metering PLC split meter spectrum lies exactly in the middle of that, and that is why the emissions still need to be system built for that purpose not to have any disturbance on our network.
Okay. Okay, and then the next question was with regards to the NRS 2010 edition and 2017 edition. A lot of manufacturers have got the certification for 2010, okay, but not 2017. Okay, so there's no change in the model of the manufacturers of the inverters. Do they need to recertify the inverters for 2017 version, because that's a huge cost, you know, for all the manufacturers to go through the whole process again? Yeah.
One must realize that 2010 didn't have this requirement of EMC standards in it. Because one must realize that what has happened in industry, the PLC spectrum has become a requirement for smart metering or smart systems. So yes, that is why the 2017 version has that clause in it. The 2017 version is most probably up for review, but it refers to the EN or SAN standard 50065-1, which do provide those limits that need to be complied with. But there's another spec that is a IEC spec 61001-2-2, which brings up the same parameters plus minus. The question is, what must the NRS working group decide to have incorporated in a document to ensure that there's no unintentional emissions coming from inverters that will influence smart systems? So that is just on the EMC standards. That exists a difference between 2010 and 2017. But there are other issues as well, which refers to the central disconnect switch above 30 kVA, and also brought in the requirements of the grid code for if you're more than 100 kVA for signals and controls.
Yes.
So in essence, 2017 version, as we speak, is the published document. So until amended.
Are you still there?
Yes.
Okay, no, it just went quiet. Okay, so the fact remains that any inverters that is NRS 2010 edition certification must be recertified.
Yes, that's correct. If they want to use it beyond 1 January 2020, that is the current status. We're looking at what the industry has taught us, and we will make sure that if we'll have to listen to what industry has discussed with us, if we want to extend it or not, because the 2010 version will only be valid till the end of this December. And many, as you rightfully say, haven't complied yet to 2017 version. So if we will be considering extending this 2010 for another period, that is not decided yet, and because we know that many have complied with requirements of 2017, and they are under 2010 version. There are also plenty that models that are discontinued. So
yes,
industry really need to come forward to meet the requirements of the emission standard. So if it's the IEC spec or the EM spec.
Okay, so if from the 1st of January 2020, the edition 2017 is applicable and there's no extension, okay, will you publish a list of all the inverters that comply with the 2017 version then?
There is the intention to remove all the 2010s from the end of December, okay. From our list. If we do consider extending it, then it will stay on the list for a certain period.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Okay. With regards to, for a following question, with regards to UPSs and so-called expert inverters, okay, that's the one from Voltronics with various brand names on it, like Mercer and so on. The question from the industry is, why aren't the expert inverters on the list? Does this mean that it is illegal to install it?
We consider that as a passive standby UPS utilized as an off-grid hybrid system. And what that means is you use your grid assist, that is another industry term, where you use the network for charging your batteries, and then the inverter is, or the UPS is in rectify mode or charger mode, and it don't rectify, don't invert. So whenever your batteries are fully charged, it changes state from charging or inverter mode and opens a switch by isolating the grid.
Okay.
So at the moment, we consider the expert as for off-grid systems. The two, as I mentioned, the passive standby UPS or an alternative supply. What is important that switch, in terms of the wiring regulations, need to conform to a SANS 60947-6-1 for a transfer. So, and that is part of the sign-off of the electrician then in terms of electrical installation. So there's no professional engineer or technologist or technician sign-off requirement for this. This is purely a Department of Employment and Labor registered person that signed that off.
Okay.
But what is important, that test report do refer to test to transfer switches, and also when you and also the science wiring that reference the same requirements, and also the test report that needs to be attached to the COC needs to refer to that. And Anton, we also referred in our requirements document, very last page, Appendix 4, giving you a summary of what the change of a switch requirements are.
Okay.
But in essence, the main requirement is Science 60947-6-1.
Okay, thank you, Reina. Reina, I got a document, a PowerPoint presentation, SSEG 30 kVA and above. Okay, is that it's the August 2018? Is that document still applicable? What you've discussed in that?
August 2018. Now you'd have to refresh my memory.
There's a presentation. It is from City of Cape Town. SSEG is larger than 30 kVA. Okay.
Okay. Yes.
Additional requirements for renewable power plant.
Yeah. No, that's
National.
Yeah, that's right. That referred to, that is, that's a presentation. I can't remember where I made it. It's quite a few places, but that is for any system. That is in terms of NRS 097-2-127 version, 2017 version, which requirement the central disconnect device, the CDD. That is for any system above 30 kVA that requires a central disconnect switch. Now, just to give you an idea, if you've got a 20 and a 40, which give you the 60, then you need one central disconnect switch. If you have a 60 inverter already with an inverter with a central disconnect device incorporated, then it's incorporated in the machine. It's just when you have more than 2, when it adds up and it's more than 30.
Yes.
But as I say, it could be incorporated, or if it's already an integral part of the inverter itself.
Okay.
And it's only one inverter, then you don't need another central disconnect device.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. What I've also see on the approved list, there is a certain disconnect devices that is also certified. So it can only be a certified device that can be connected. Correct.
Yes, that's right. That is the frequency and voltage relay. And you will see also an NRS document, whenever a central disconnect switch is required, you need to type test a relay for that purpose. But that is only a relay for frequency and voltage. So for out of bounds conditions, and that gives you the functionality to trip the in-series contactors.
Okay, from the participant side, is there any questions from your side that you want to address to Reina and his team?
Thank you, Anton. Just for the participants, because it is quite a large group, we can't unmute everybody at one stage, because then we tend to get a lot of feedback on the system. So you're welcome to, in your control panel, you can raise your hand and you can ask your question, and then I will unmute you and you can ask your question and then we'll get the answer to it. You don't have a microphone system, there is a chat box, so you can always type in the chat box the question that you do have.
Okay, the first question we have is here from Randolph. He said, can we please hear from City of Cape Town which PLCs are currently approved on the DNP3 communication to their server for plants between 100 and 999 kVA?
Can you repeat that, please? PLC.
Okay. The question is, from City of Cape Town, which PLCs they currently approve for DNP3 communication to their server for plants between 100 and 999 kVA?
The DNP3.
Yeah.
Yeah, between 100 and, if I understand correctly, you're referring to the grid code requirements, where we want the DNP3 Ethernet SCADA communication medium from your system, which we then revert back to our control room. That is only above 100 up to 999, yes.
Yes, so I would like to know what SCADA equipment or PLC equipment is approved.
What PLC equipment?
Yes.
No, we want a router that is VPN compliant at the customer's premises, where we will pick up that communication from the router and we will convey it from the customer router to our control room. So the only thing that for the absolute power production constraint and also for the power gradient constraint, it needs to be set up from your Modbus or other communication means you have and converted to DNP3.
Okay, Randall, does that answer your question? Yes, okay, exactly. He just asked, he said, no pre-approved brands, but we will discuss that later. Okay, then, Rainer, a question that I have with regards to the capacity of inverters or systems that is connected to the grid, where you've got a single phase and of 60 and 80 amp and your three-phase system, where they stipulate 3.5 and 4.6 kVA connection. So, is it allowed to install a larger PV system and limit the export capability of the inverter, either via hardware or via internal software in the inverter, as you stipulate in your notes in your regulation?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, so because you get many of these hybrid inverters that you can limit the export capacity, okay, and in some cases you have typically like a solar lock or meteor control with an RS-485 meter that you can limit the export.
Yeah, I think, Anton, the important thing to note here is that, yes, in terms of a 3.5 60 single-phase system, you are allowed to most probably install a 6 kVA system, because that is most probably closest to a size that you will get from a supplier.
Yeah.
However, the application will still be for a 3.5 kVA system.
Yeah, so I know
yes,
that
you can throttle it either hardware or software, or by means of hardware or software to 3.5. I think the important thing to note is that, yes, a bigger inverter can be installed. However, the application should be still within its limits in terms of our requirement document. And yes, it is allowed to throttle it either hardware or software, by means of hardware or software.
So when the installers or EPCs complete the application forms, they must just stipulate what the size is, 3.4, 3.5 or 4.6 kVA.
Yes, so on the application form, we do allow to indicate what size they are applying for. So now, for example, it is a 60 amp single phase residential property. Yes. And they put there 8 kVA. We will not approve that, even though, yes, you can throttle it, because you should actually specify 3.5. We will know your inverter details based on the specs that you provide us. It's actually a 6 kVA system, for example.
Great, thank you so much.
And
quite
obviously
clear.
also in terms of the panels that you install, surely you're obviously not going to install the amount of panels for a 6 kVA system if you are limited to a 3.5 kVA system, for
Yes.
example.
Okay. Right. Any other questions from the participants? Okay, Linda, that is all from my side. Thank you to City of Cape Town, Rainer and his guys. I appreciate your input, and we will communicate offline via email. If there's any of the industry participants that need more information, you are welcome to send via email to our AREP email addresses, or send it straight to Linda. Linda, can you provide him with email addresses that they can send any questions to?
Yes, thank you, Anton. Yes, the best email address to use would be mine, which is Linda, Linda. So it's Linda at areprac.org. So that is AREPRAC.org. But on the AREP website, there is also a contact sheet where you can get in contact with her.
Yeah, Linda, you just break up a bit, so we didn't hear your email address quite clear.
Okay, it's LINDA at AREPRAC.org.
Okay. And my email address is the same, just with SSEG instead of Linda.
Yes.
Okay, if there's no further questions from the participant and from Cape Town side, thank you for the opportunity, and thank you, Cape Town, for attending this webinar, and we appreciate your participation.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Enjoy and harvest the sun.
Great, thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
No, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Anton. I did have a couple of private messages regarding the AREP platform, the Solar Specialist tests, as well as the E4 platform. Please just email me your requirements and I will get back to you. So thank you. On that note, we will then close the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you all.